Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. We have a very interesting segment. A Durham probe is heating up. And you remember they talked about Mueller time. Remember in the Mueller probe? They were so obsessed with the Mueller probe, they found nothing. Well, the Durham probe has already indicted two people who committed crimes, or one person who pled guilty, another person who was accused of committing crimes, directly related to setting up and framing Trump, which is the nature of the Durham probe. The nature of the Mueller probe never came to fruition. The reason they investigated Trump was never validated or justified in any of the indictments. Nobody was ever indicted on working alongside Russian operatives to buy Facebook ads or to swing 2016. That never happened. The grandiose claim of Trump working with Russia or being an operative of Putin or a Putin puppet, that never, ever happened. That was a scam and a hoax and a complete fake news, fabricated, irrational, completely nonsensical fantasy of Democrats and partisan political operatives. The United States government basically sided with the Democratic Party. It was not apolitical. It was completely biased. And the Inspector General found endless examples of bias, but then said, gee, there was no testimonial or documentary evidence of bias. So, yeah, Comey and Strzok and McCabe and Clapper and Brennan didn't sign an oath saying they were going to take down Trump. Congratulations. But we know what took place. Now we have the second indictment, Sussman. They're going to indict more of those attorneys. The attorneys at that law firm, Sussman isn't even the most important one when it came to being an intermediary for the Steele dossier. I'm not even going to bring up the man's name. But there's an attorney that is far more important in actually spreading the fantasy and the hoax and the almost certainly engaging in far more criminal behavior than just lying to the FBI about who paid him. So the DNC and the Clinton campaign utilized attorneys at that law firm to purchase a dossier. This is what took place. If you ask most people on the left who voted for Biden, they have no clue. They don't even really have a clue as to what the Mueller probe was about, but they know it was Trump and he did something bad. Hit subscribe to this channel, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. To my super chat, I can't do this without you. So to my super chat, thank you so very, very much. I cannot do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to support this channel, if you want to talk about the Durham probe or any other topic that the algorithm will allow, your support via super chat is greatly appreciated. I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding like some people. Subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I have a segment out in a couple of hours on that channel that you will absolutely love. Read my article in The Federalist on why Democrats are pushing this country towards a devastating stock market crash, have already pushed us towards a devastating stock market crash and a financial crisis as a result. But hit subscribe. Your super chat is greatly appreciated. Eric and Luke, thank you so very much. To the members of this channel, thank you. Eric has an Odyssey and a YouTube channel. Subscribe to Eric's Odyssey and YouTube channels. And let's go ahead and start. This is a really great interview with Kash Patel and Maria Bartiromo. And I'm going to probably go through this often. There are a bunch of interviews that are really good with Devin Nunes and Kash Patel. But let's listen to this, and you'll get an understanding as to why the Durham probe has really just started. It's just the first inning of a long ball game. But listen to this as soon as I put the volume up.
Welcome back. We are back with former prosecutor and former Pentagon Chief of Staff Kash Patel. Kash, I want to know from you, when you believe the FBI figured out that the lies were coming from the Clinton campaign. I know that in January 25th, 6th, and 7th, the FBI did meetings with the subsource on what exactly was in the dossier, and at that time they told them that it was garbage and they made it up. They had beers and embellished. But when do you believe the FBI figured out that all of this was just one political campaign trying to take down another?
So that's a great question. That's exactly what the Sussman indictment is about. Look, this man Sussman, he is on the bottom of the hierarchy in terms of within that law firm. He's not even the most important person or the person who did the most to spread the dossier. He was working alongside others who had far more exposure or, culpability, criminal liability to what was going on. You cannot simply set up and frame your direct political rival. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't matter how many sanctimonious, highly educated experts tell you that's okay. The good thing about this country and the bad thing about this country is that you have half of the electorate, people who voted for Trump, who do not believe the lies of media. They lie all the time. Media lies all the time. They lie by omission. And Tim Pool is very good at explaining, and there are others that are very good at explaining how media lies. Media lies by omission. They will give you half of the truth and leave out the other half, the most important half. Benny V406, love from Big Sky Country. Good work, HA. Thank you. Montana. Love Montana. Haven't been there, but I love Montana. Benny V406. What is the weather, Benny, in Montana right now? I know I look like I'm dressed for Montana, but Benny, thank you so very much. Beautiful. Every time I see photos of Montana, one of these days I would love to just save up enough money, get a summer home in Montana, or eventually years from now, maybe even move. But I would love to, in the near future, hopefully in the next 10 years or so, get a summer home, save up enough money. I sometimes look, Benny, at the real estate in Montana. It's like you can live like a king for what you'd get in California. Anyway, Benny, V406, thank you so very much, Benny. Thank you.
I think they knew right away in the documents that we put out in the Nunes investigation, the Nunes memo, and the HIPSI report on Russian active measures show that the FBI knew right away because their FISA abuse process, now that declassification process is complete, and your viewers can read it, that the FBI knew the information was fraudulent, they knew the credibility problems with Christopher Steele, and they knew the DNC through Fusion GPS and Perkins Coie were piping in tens of millions of dollars into the machine so that they could get up a FISA warrant on President Trump. So I think they knew right away, which is why I think the individuals at the head of the FBI need to be held accountable.
And here's the issue that I find very bizarre, okay? Here's the issue I find very bizarre. I was looking back at articles written when Comey was fired. And the indignation, ladies and gentlemen, the indignation that Trump would fire the head of the FBI while he was being investigated for the purpose of ending the investigation. Nothing could have been further from the truth. He was fired because of his handling of the Clinton email probe. And the investigation never ended. So why they would immediately start a Mueller probe under the pretext of, he fired Comey Oh, and he was trying to obstruct justice. He had every right to fire Comey. He had every single right to do so because James Comey, along with everyone involved, the lawyers at that law firm, the attorneys at that law firm, everyone involved was there to set up and frame Trump. This was not about the rule of law. This was an egregious attempt at bending the rule of law to fabricate some kind of grandiose plot which never existed. You can't investigate someone on the notion that a person could have done something. If that was the case, 20 Democrats I could name off the top of my head right now would be in prison. You can't simply have an endless investigation trying to find a crime. You need an actual, event. You need a predicate crime. You need something to take place. Servers with top secret intel, for example. A break-in like Watergate. You need some type of event. There wasn't an event linked to Trump that they were investigating. They were doing what the old Soviet Union would do, okay? And it was, well, you know what? The secret police want to talk to you. If you know that the secret police of your country or a rogue law enforcement or rogue secret police want to talk to you, they can make up anything. They can say that you told them a lie. And there's no way to defend yourself after that because the judge in the Michael Flynn case and judges everywhere just believed the FBI because they believed everything was apolitical. And you would have to prove to the judge that things weren't apolitical. That's the problem. That's the problem. You can't if you are in a court of law and you're the defendant and you're being set up and framed and you know that the people investigating you are biased and they say that you lied and it's an actual law that the judge the way things stand, it is the law that if you lie to an FBI official or an agent, you're going to jail or prison. But they don't tape, they don't record the interaction or the interrogation. They have 302s. The judge is basing the allegation on the notes of the agent trying to send you to prison. It's completely counterintuitive and makes no sense. Why would you give that much power without verifying the accuracy of the claim? But that's what happened. They knew Michael Flynn didn't lie. They didn't have a reason to investigate Michael Flynn. They did so anyway. They did so anyway. They didn't have... oh my God, I hope I didn't do anything. Oh, please. No! No! Again! No! Again, I did it! Oops, I did it again. Eric, I apologize. I was trying to... Oh, Lord. I was trying to... Okay, hold on. Now he's a moderator again. Okay, Eric, sorry. Oh, my God. All right. Nothing. I messed up, Eric. There was one message about... and then I tried to... Again, I erased the message, and I accidentally pressed... sorry. You know how lame I am. Everything's fine. Luke St. Martin. Eric, please. I love you. Luke. Lord. Anyway, so, I mean, it really wasn't that bad, Eric. It wasn't even that bad. I was just, like, erring on the side of caution. But then, what is wrong with this? Why do I always do this? What is wrong with this? What am I pressing? Oh, okay. I'm pressing something. I don't know what happened. Eric. Luke St. Martin. Thank you. Okay, so let's continue. Sorry.
Wow. So they knew that it was garbage, and yet they still pursued a FISA warrant to wiretap Trump organization members like Carter Page. Will John Durham reel in any big fish, in your view?
Yeah, and
So check out. He's going to reel in some big fish. He's going to reel in some big fish. It's just a matter of time. These people are all going to turn on one another. Okay? They all know what they did. They all know what they did. These are a bunch of like scorpions and snakes and barracuda and piranha and tarantulas and centipedes, and they're not like, these people conspired alongside one another without actually notifying each other of what they were doing. They had one goal in mind, and everyone hid behind their desk, their post, their bureaucratic everyone hid behind their bureaucratic post. They all of them had a certain level of power, from Sussman to Comey, from Kleinsmith to McCabe, from the lovely Lisa Page to Peter Strzok. Everyone, they all had a certain level of power. Okay? And they hid behind their respective bureaucracies. That's the issue. They hid behind their respective bureaucracies, and they engaged in criminal behavior. I wrote about that in the Federalist.
I believe so. Let me just put this in perspective. When I was running large-scale conspiracy and fraud investigations, they took me 3, 4, 5 years to prosecute. John Durham's only in his second year of the most political scandal in U.S. history. So I believe within the next 6 months, look out for indictments against the folks like Fusion GPS and Glenn Simpson for helping perpetuate this fraud. And look out for individuals like Lisa Page and Peter Strzok. I believe they're already helping John Durham. They're cooperating with him to get the bigger fish like the Andy McCabe, who is the biggest fraudster next to James Comey. I think you're going to see these indictments start coming out on the individuals at the top. It's just going to take a few more months, but I remind your viewers, it takes a little bit of time to work these matters.
So McCabe was second in command or second in control of all of this, and he's linked to Terry McAuliffe. Anyone linked to Terry McAuliffe is oozing slime. This slimy Tammany Hall swampy slime. Okay? They were even investigating Terry McAuliffe. Of course, what they do when they want to hook someone up, when they want to just protect somebody, is they investigate. And then they end the investigation finding nothing. So they investigate and they say, "Oh, we found nothing. We found nothing." They do what I accidentally did to Eric H526, except they're smart enough not even to accidentally hide the user, which is what I don't know. Sorry, Eric. I keep on trying. I don't know what I'm pressing. I'm seeing it right in front of me, and I'm pressing the wrong thing. They say, "Oh, well, we'll take care of this." and then they do nothing. And so that's a racket in and of itself. But with their direct political rivals, I mean, this was all politicized. Everyone knows this. This is something they can't defend. And yet you had progressives and left-leaning pundits defend this. The $20 million venture capital people defended this.
Unbelievable. And no surprise, the mainstream media gave them all jobs. All right, quick move on to Afghanistan. What really is...
So, you have a situation where they set up and framed Trump, but they did so in a very creative manner. Every single person had a specific post or bureaucratic specialty. They each had different powers, different abilities, different level of protection. They each had a little tiny role to play, from Sussman to Comey. The law firm hired by the Democrats and Clinton served as the intermediary between Democrats and Fusion GPS and Christopher Steele. We all knew this. This alone should have prevented any Mueller probe. The fact that Jeff Sessions... Oh, I'm sorry, President Trump. The fact that he recused himself is one of the worst political moves in American history. And one of the best, the triumph for Democrats, like the victory, the initial victory that allowed everything to take place was the initial victory that allowed everything to take place was Sessions. The initial victory was Sessions recusing himself. That was the initial victory. That was... Without that initial victory, you don't have... Without that initial victory, you do not have a Mueller probe. Without Sessions recusing himself, they couldn't have done anything. And then they were going to go after Sessions and try to get him, literally try to imprison him for a lie under oath that wasn't even really a lie under oath. I mean, by the standards of Brennan and Clapper. And you know who outsmarted Sessions? Al Franken, of all people. Al Franken outsmarted Sessions. The little Keebler elf the little Keebler elf who spent his entire life in politics was outsmarted by a former Saturday Night Live star. Okay? And he knew that technically he had lied. He knew that they said, "Did you ever speak to Sergei Kislyak?" Again, a moment in time that is completely irrelevant. Speaking to Sergei Kislyak is completely irrelevant endeavor. Matt Kalmark, hello. It doesn't matter if people spoke to Sergei Kislyak or not. That's completely irrelevant. That was a pretext to try to intimidate and bully and silence and suppress Sessions, which worked. Then you had almost certainly Democratic operatives telling people to trust Sessions, and then, of course, I was telling people don't listen to message boards. It's absurd. It's very dangerous, and I got people, H.A., you're a good person. Don't say anything about LMNOP. Hey, don't do it. You're a good person. Don't do it. I was like, this is a hoax within a hoax. This is fake news within fake news. This is a fabricated fantasy within a fabricated. It's like having a dream while you're in a matrix. That's what LMNOP was about. Or having a nightmare. Nightmare. So, as they were fabricating a fantasy, most likely, notice how Democrats don't want to find out who started the absurd message board that I opposed from day one before Democrats opposed. Why don't they find out who started it? And almost certainly crimes were committed, and almost certainly it was a Democratic operative that started it. Nobody... The notion you should trust the one person... The notion of trust has been completely distorted and manipulated and mangled in our society by media, and the notion of trust is something that's earned. Trust is earned, it's not given. Trust is earned, it is not given. Okay? It's important if you lived most of your life before Facebook and Twitter, you have an advantage on decipher. Well, might not be true, but I often think about how life has been, political life at least, or life in society or media, has been twisted and distorted by social media. Social media is like 10% good, 90% horrible dystopian nightmare. It's a place where people with no lives, or people who have serious issues in life, would say things and do things they wouldn't in normal everyday in the normal world. It's like Tron. Who remembers Tron? Who remembers Tron? How good of a movie. Eric and Luke, do you remember Tron? Well, Eric's young, but you might have been a young man when Tron was first out. Maybe you weren't even born. I don't know. Who remembers Tron, ladies and gentlemen? You're stuck in a video game, and that's what social media is. That's what social media is. Mad Cow Mark! You can't put her name, banana, or rest together in super chat. Mad Cow Mark. I know. It is tough out there. I know, Mad Mad Cow Mark. I know. I hear you. I hear you, Mad Cow Mark. Thank you, by the way, as always. I hope all is well, Mad Cow Mark. I hope all is well. God bless the people. God bless the people in Australia. My God. My God. And God bless the people in the UK. My goodness, Mad Cow Mark. What they did to that British MP, David Amos. Unbelievable. And the reaction has been, of course, muted and subdued and not even somber from mainstream. More like, let's report on it, and we don't have to judge or condemn or pontificate. That's it. Always censored, wasn't it? Always censored. I love Tron. I love that movie. I think that, like, movies like Red Dawn, Tron, War Games, all of these 80s movies, they're far more creative and real, and like there's so much more philosophy to these movies than there is today, you know. This is an era where philosophical thought is no longer alive. The subject of philosophy, everything linked to Democratic Party interests is an existential crisis. Usually, existentialism or an existential crisis was a school of philosophical thought. Like there used to be a time not long ago where one's existence was explained by lofty ideals or concepts, not the Steele Dossier or the Green New Deal resolution, definitely not legislation. Because these people are, right now, public relations is the most important thing to half the country. Public relations. You know. Alice, that's right. I mean, what movies can you point to today? You can't. There may be a couple of musical artists that have philosophical themes today in their songs. Tom MacDonald is one. But like, you know, exactly. Now everything is this is why I love Chris Rock. I was going to say Chris Rock. I love Chris Rock. You can't cancel him either. But Dave Chappelle, I saw Chris Rock at the University of Southern California in 1994. 1993 or 1994. Might have been 93. And it was amazing. It was amazing. He was the funniest. He was amazing. And of course, today that same routine could not be accepted by college students. Because the orthodoxies, these far left or these liberal orthodoxies, or I should say, I don't even know what to call them. These are fabricated sacred cows. There's no reason to fear being offended, because they always try to link an offensive statement or a statement that they view as offensive to someone losing their life. And then today you have David Amos, or yesterday, the British MP. They don't ever look and say, oh, our words caused this. Our beliefs caused billions in property damage, 25 lives lost. They never say that. Their ideas are so vapid and are so linked to political power. They're directly correlated. They're so directly correlated to a quest for political power that they must alter speech. This is the definition of Orwellian. They must alter speech. If they don't alter speech, they cannot actually defeat you in an argument using the English language in the manner that we've learned English. Other languages, by the way, just to let you know, like the French, people in Spain, other countries, they would never alter their language. The Europeans are like they many of them think of themselves as the most enlightened, but they would never ever do the things that we do. So I'll leave it at that. But if you don't alter language, they don't win the argument. And I'm not talking about any specific social issues, by the way. I'm actually just talking about a whole bunch of, like calling climate change an existential issue. It's as much of an existential issue as something that could end life thousands or hundreds of years from now. We have no clue when our existence will end because of climate change, although I do agree it is a very important issue. And it's something we need to tackle. Probably not now when you have an economy barely functioning with supply chain breakdowns because you've ended all economic activity. Well, that's another story. Language was used there also. They manipulate language in such a brazen and overt attempt at political power. It's unbelievable. This is why I don't understand. Like, I'm not going to bring up their names, but there are a couple of conservative polemicists, philosophers, or intellectuals, and I say to myself, and they despise Trump, but they're always pushing back against the left, and I'm like, this is viewed within a certain circle of conservative thought as a noble thing. You know, I would never side with Trump, but the left is wrong on this, that. Oh, well, guess what? Never Trump conservative. Trump agrees with you on every single one of those things. So what's the problem? Oh, his personality and the media obsession, the contempt and disdain of media against him. If someone is saving me from tumultuous waters, I don't care about the person's personality. And the notion that he compels or incites, it's like, well, how many people incited the man who took the life of David Amos? Are those people, are those British Labour politicians going to be sent to prison now? Is there going to be a January panel for them? So, how many people, how many politicians, how many journalists in the UK said things that could have led to the life of David Amos being taken? You know, you can't even get more than 3 articles in Google in the United States of America. There's BuzzFeed, Daily Beast, Politico, and that's it. And that's it. And so the double standard is unbelievable. But whenever left-leaning politicians or whenever left-leaning pundits, whenever their language is linked towards atrocity, it's never their words that helped commit the atrocity. It just happened. That's why they're so obsessed with social media algorithms. Because they literally just can't defend. They literally can't defend their vantage point. They don't even believe. Like, the Democratic Party, they say, is a tent. 1/3 to 40% of Democrats don't even believe the nonsense. Okay, climate change, for example, is a very important issue. I agree with that. It is to an extent an existential issue, to the extent that something hundreds of years from now or thousands of years from now can end the planet. But they don't believe when President Obama buys beachfront property, which, God bless him, he should. Fantastic. He doesn't think that climate change is going to... when you bring this up to the average person on the left, like, oh my God, what a lame thing to say. If you truly believe that climate change will lead to a rise in sea levels, or that, beachfront, oceanfront property will be submerged within your lifetime because it's an existential issue, then you wouldn't buy beachfront property. That's my point. There are people who truly think that within the next 20, 30, 40 years, sea levels will rise to, to just destroy cities. And so then why would you go ahead and buy property right on the beach? That's my point. It's the hypocrisy is unbelievable. Why would you utilize plastics in everyday life if you are against fossil fuels? Plastics are literally made from natural gas. And God bless President Obama and his family. God bless them. I'm happy for them. Fantastic. But don't pontificate and condemn and judge and say, oh, you don't believe in the science of climate change. Well, you don't. You're saying it's existential, and then you're acting in a way that shows you really don't believe the words. They really don't believe. They really don't believe the rhetoric. The rhetoric never corresponds with the actions. That's the point. PT, we're on. The rhetoric never corresponds with their actions. Case in point, AOC has a Green New Deal resolution that, by the way, they wouldn't touch with a 20-foot pole before November last year. And when the stock market crashes, and it will, and we have an even greater financial crisis, and unfortunately we will, so I say save your money. I know that people have said, why should I save my money? Inflation. It's like, well, there's deflation also. There's deflationary forces also. You'll be able to buy things half off, unfortunately, when things go under. The thing is, Republicans, or I should say Trump Republicans, the never Trump Republicans, they're happy. They're fine. And they're okay with Democrats, like, just doing everything humanly possible to attain power and silence any dissent. That's what the whole Facebook thing was about. It wasn't about helping people. They don't care about that. They don't care about if Facebook is utilized for a protest that leads to billions in property damage or millions. They don't care about that at all. What they care about is silencing any dissent, utilizing the notion that they're doing so to help people. See, what Democrats do, it could be on every topic, every social topic. They utilize words that express care, or that communicate that they're worried or concerned about the welfare of others. And then they impose their will upon others, and they say it's for your benefit, or for the benefit of the collective, or for society, even though they preside over the worst outcomes on a whole bunch of things. And the never Trump Republicans are just fine. They're okay. They don't care. And the Trump Republicans, the thing that we need is the House of Representatives. We'll get that. We'll get the House of Representatives. But before then, you need, that's why I say Trump needs to be Speaker of the House. That would be amazing. If he was Speaker of the House, that would be fantastic. That would be absolutely fantastic. Because you need an opposition to the madness. You need an opposition to the madness. If they keep saying, well, a certain percentage of this percentage, this is how Democrats speak without actually, this is how they lie by omission. They say a certain percentage, therefore listen to us. But they don't tell you it's a certain percentage of a certain percentage. And they don't tell you that every human being should be able to evaluate or decipher his or her own risk-reward analysis. When they give statistics, it's always, this is for all people. It's like, well, if you break down those statistics and then break down the statistics further, you'll realize that the initial claim is not exactly accurate. Or the emotions behind, and this is the thing, the emotions behind the initial claim might not pertain to you. The emotional push, the emotions that the statistics or the numbers are trying to evoke might not pertain exactly. Then there's the dreaded fact check, in which they lie by omission all the time. And they never utilize the standards of... They have redefined words. A fact check is not a rebuttal. You cannot say, we spoke to this person, we spoke to this expert. A fact check is something that anybody can do because facts don't change. People's opinions change. Consensus changes. Words can be, deciphered in different ways depending on, or evaluated in different ways depending on the context. A fact check is a very simple endeavor. It is not what they did with Trump. What they did with Trump is a petulant, malicious, endless attempt at trying to tear him down every second, while at the same time making themselves look so... Like, CBS Market Watch, there was an article, 30%, something like 25 to 30% of everything Trump said in these fact-checking, like in the Washington Post fact-check, was true. Categorically true. But they sliced and diced everything. Oh, my God. They sliced and diced everything to the point of madness. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much to my super chat. Thank you. I can't thank you enough, ladies and gentlemen. And I will be doing another segment on the Durham probe tomorrow evening. Be here tomorrow evening at around, I would say, 8 p.m. Pacific. So be here at 8 p.m. Pacific tomorrow evening. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very much. Hit subscribe to this channel. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. And also to... also, please read my article in the Federalist. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Pacific time. Thanks so much, everybody.